If you believe the news, Donald Trump, when not sitting round in his underpants watching Finding Nemo, is about to launch a war with Iran. Iran has in recent days been test-firing missiles, linked below. There are various explanations for these tests, ranging from there being satellite launch vehicles to nuclear missiles, no doubt linked to the 13th Imam appearing in the well. However, I was curious about this because of the news that barely a month ago Azerbaijan agreed to buy the Iron Dome missile system from the Israelis, linked below. Therefore, it perhaps makes sense for the Iranians to test a few rockets as a demonstration. I mentioned in my video, it's not all about Israel, linked below, that Azerbaijan has become a player in the Turkish oil industry and the supply of gas into Europe, and is currently at the centre of a diplomatic offensive. The Azab president, Ilham Aliyev, is currently in Belgium, linked below, at the invite of the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk. During his stay, he participated in discussions with EU officials, the President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, President Tusk, the High Representative of the European Union and Vice President of the European Commission, Federica Mogherini, the European Commission Vice President for Energy Union, Markus Sefcovic, as well as King Philippe of Belgium and the former President of the Parliamentary Assembly of the European Council, René van der Linden. Of interest is that currently Azerbaijan has an agreement not only with itself and the EU, but by extension between each member state. However, the proposal is to negotiate this arrangement to be between Azerbaijan and the EU, which is interesting in light of Brexit, Frexit, Grexit, and the other various difficulties facing the EU. Don't rebel or you don't get gas. One of the things apparently agreed is that the EU will put pressure on the Armenians with regard to Nagorno-Karabakh. Speaking of which, shots and mortar fire have been exchanged in the disputed regions today, linked below. The Americans have warned the Armenians not to close the OSCE office in Yerevan, linked below, and fresh questions have been raised about the Russian military base at Erebuni, linked below. With Georgia edging towards NATO and Azerbaijan moving in that direction also via the EU, this places Armenia in a rather perilous position, a position made more perilous by the rumours swirling around that Iraqi Kurdistan might achieve some form of statehood. Certainly, the region has been factored into the calculations, with the Azab-owned refinery in Izmir in Turkey being modified to accept shipments of Kurdish oil. The Kurds also want Donald Trump to designate the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organisation, linked below, at which point it is worth considering that the Kurds were originally armed by the CIA in the 1950s for precisely this reason, namely to create a land corridor to export the oil from Baku, Of course, then it was in support of the Shah, but, a plan is a plan. Of perhaps more significance is that as Azerbaijan moves into the Western orbit, Russia will be denied a direct land route to Armenia and Iran. Also in the news is the Azabs have been meeting the Pakistanis in Islamabad, link below, to discuss strengthening trade relations, as well as discussing increasing sales of fruit and vegetables to Afghanistan. To those following on the map, you will no doubt be asking, yes, but what is going on in Turkmenistan? Well, let's nip over to the Stratfor site and see what they say. Link below. Quote, just because the country has historically been one of the most stable states in Central Asia doesn't mean it will stay that way forever. Unquote. That doesn't sound good. I wonder what can be going on. Well, they're having an election. Link below. Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov will all but surely be elected to the third term as president on Sunday, defeating the other 8 candidates approved by the Central Election Commission. Oh yeah? What makes you so sure? Abroad, he is best known for the extreme personality cult that has surrounded him. Berdimuhamedov, educated as a dentist, received 89% of the vote in the 2007 election and 97% in the 2012 election. I wonder why he's so popular. Daily television reports cover the president's meeting with factory workers, the military, athletes and students, during which he is greeted with praise, flowers, song and dance. President Berdimuhamedov has given away television sets and sometimes trips to the sea, and he has additionally promised women gifts for International Women's Day on March the 8th. And for that extra touch of kitsch, Berdimuhamedov's portrait, whether on a horse, a tractor, at a podium, or with his family, hangs in every polling station. Oh, who could resist? There's only one problem. Link below. 5 former Soviet republics, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, are considered to be lucrative recruiting area for new members of the self-styled Islamic State terrorist militia, which in theory would make them a priority target for the Trump-Putin tag team wrestling match with ISIS, were it not for the fact that the Iranians have leased the Russians an air base, link below, and I doubt the Russians really want the Americans expanding further into Central Asia and thus completely isolating them from their ally Iran. But if all else fails, then the Russians and the Americans can always blame the British. Link below.